Hi everyone, welcome to my first Workspace Wednesday video of 2023. Happy New Year, and I hope that this year brings us clarity and focus, especially on the things that are most important to us. So today I'm going to be going through my Tana workspace and how I set it up for this year. There are lots of changes that I would have made. I removed quite a few things. I tried to simplify as much as I could while keeping some level of functionality. And I think you would see that as we go through the setup. You can already see just from my today page and the sidebar that things look different if you watched my first Tana video. So let's get right into it. I'm just going to start with an overview of the sidebar. So I would have grouped all of my nodes and all of my pages into these four categories on the left here. I have North Star, which contains my guiding sort of principles. I have my planner, which is everything that I need to be working on to get things done, events, tasks, and my weekly and monthly and annual reviews, as well as my lists. I have a learning hub for the things that I'm currently learning and more making notes on. And then I have a fun area, which is more like niche databases and just information that's more targeted towards a particular category, like for example UFC, and I have a playground here. I'll go into these in depth or at least in some more detail after I go through the today page. So let's go ahead at the today page. I kept the weekly routine. So first off, all of these icons and all of the things that you see in this top row here, these are all hidden fields for the day super tag. So if I click on the day super tag configuration, you would see these fields at the top here. These are all hidden fields. For example, if I click on this habit, you'll see that the field is hidden always. And every field that you have for us, the day super tag is gonna show up at the top here once it is hidden. So as I was saying, I kept the weekly routine. I used to have monthly routine here, but I've since moved that into my quarterly action plan. These icons that you see here each represent a habit. I got this idea from Cam in the Tana Slack group, and she would have posted her working through her habit tracker, and she used these icons, which I thought was extremely helpful because I'm not entering the information here, I'm actually entering it here in the daily habits node. But I'm able to have this visual reminder throughout my day as I add in everything right here in the today node as I go throughout my day. And therefore it's a nice reminder that I need to for the things that I usually do throughout the day. I stretch in the morning, I exercise more in the evening, dental hygiene routine, writing, doing my daily finances, as well as keeping to my limited social media window. So at the end of the day, essentially, I come here and I would tick off what I would have done so far. For some reason, this stretching is gone. I would have somehow ticked that off. So as you can see, this is just it's a table view. So it's a table view, and the live search is showing me all of the day nodes that are essentially within the month of January. This this search expression I also got from the Tana community. Someone named Kenny, he would have shared this way of filtering your dates for a specific time period. So this is just to break it down quickly. It's showing everything, and you can see it actually broken down right here. Everything tagged as day, and using these search operators. So if you go here, you'll see the less than and greater than search operators. You just type those fields in here. You then type in the calendar date field, and you put the start. Well, it's more like, so its calendar date is greater than Saturday 31st, which means that I want it to start from the 1st of January. So the day after Saturday, the 31st of December, 2022. So I'm essentially showing everything from the 1st of January, which you can see here, the 1st of January. And the end date is any date that is less than February 1st. So that's going to show me everything from the 1st of January to the 31st of January. I hope that was not too confusing, but that's essentially what this is pulling up here. I like that I can tick everything off. So today I would have stretched this morning, and as I go throughout the day, most of these things are more done in the evening time, so I will tick them off then. So really grateful that I searched in the Tana Slack community to find out, because actually before I was doing my habit tracking all in Notion, and I just had a link to get back to that Notion database, but I don't have any need for that anymore since I can do everything right here. Let's move along. I don't want to spend too long on the weekly routine because I do have a video already planned going more in depth into the a weekly review, but I will show you the weekly review super tag. So these are the nodes here. This is the super tag configuration, and the weekly routine is actually where I do all of my planning, or rather the weekly review aspect is where I do all of my planning, and it's where I pull all of my tasks that I want to schedule in my weekly schedule. So just to explain that a bit more, so for my weekly routine, I would ask myself, what did I do this week? I have these 3 questions which come from Patricia Moo's weekly review, so I will link that in the description as well. It was really helpful in terms of asking some really important questions to get a better grasp on how you're doing with your week. So I asked these 3 questions. I also review the week's tasks. This is just a live query showing everything that I would have done on each day of the week. That's what did I do this week. I then review the habits, which is now essentially just looking at this daily habit node for the week. I write a short reflection, and then I enter or I schedule my upcoming events. So at the beginning of the month, I actually come here and I put all of the events that I have for that given month. So for January, I know that it's my mom's birthday and I'm going out for my birthday as well. So these are the events that I have coming up. I put a date, and if it is coming up this week, I would schedule in a day and I would schedule in a time block. The other ones I leave blank, and I do that more on a weekly basis. Then I go through and I plan my tasks. Now the task planning, maybe I should hide the sidebar so you can see it more clearly. I plan my tasks by dragging every task that is in the key across to next up. Now, everything that I tag as task is automatically added to the key. I will go I will do another video specifically on task management in Tana, but I would link a video that was extremely helpful from the Tana team, which is also in their community of videos, I think on Vimeo, and I will link that below. So that might give you some clarity. But until then, everything that I have tagged as a task, it automatically goes to my key. And then when I come to do my weekly review, I drag the task from key into next up. And that's everything that I'm going to be working on this week. After I do that, I just schedule the tasks for the week. And by scheduling the tasks, I mean that I'm adding a day, so that is going to show up in my weekly schedule, and I'm adding a time block if I have a general idea. I don't need to add a time block here, but I do like time blocking so that it just shows me a general idea of when I would likely want to do this particular activity. I can also add a deadline, but I may delete this field as I haven't really had any use for it so far. So once I've scheduled my tasks for the week, so all of this I would have essentially done on Sunday, I am able to have a look at my weekly schedule. This is the weekly schedule. It is showing me everything that's tagged as an event or as a task, and I have it only showing me task items with the status as next up or done. Next up meaning, as you would have seen from the weekly review, everything that is tagged as next up, as I said, that's everything that I want to be working on for the week. I keep it done as well in the status property because I like seeing the checked off activities for that given day. You can choose to just have it disappear, but I do like to come back and see what I did on a given day for that week. And then I also have another process for the end of the week where I move all of the done tasks to my archive, which is just another field. So let's say, for example, I come to the task super tag, the fields here. You can see under status, I have these options. So at the end of the week, I would move something from done to archive so that it's not still showing up in my weekly schedule. Again, I hope that makes sense, but I should be able to make that clearer if it's not either in a blog post or in the video that I have scheduled for task management in Tana. So that is the search expression, that's the live query, and I'm viewing it I'm viewing it actually grouped by the day. So for each task, if we go into the super tag, you will see that I have day, and for day I just have the days of the week. For time block, I have different time blocks for a particular day, and that's mainly what I use. If I do have subtasks for a particular task, I will just put them in here. That's essentially the task super tag, how I have it set up currently. I don't really have anything but the time block being displayed, as you can see here, right? So that's the weekly schedule. I really like it because I can drag things across, I can make changes, and it's very easy even to add a task. It's very easy to add a task just here. So I just need to tag it so that the mismatch goes away. Actually, the mismatch wouldn't go away because I also have it, I need to set it as next up, and then the mismatch goes away. But that's how easy it is. You can add a task here. I would like to delete that. Alrighty. after the weekly schedule, I have my quarterly action plan. Now, I would really like this to be a simple table, meaning just a table and not necessarily a database where you have fields. But because Tana does not have simple tables, I'm not sure if there's really a use for them. I don't know how many people in the community might actually want this feature. But right now, this is what I'm using, the actual table view of a database, along with fields, because I don't have a simple table. But essentially, as I go through the year, I am planning everything monthly, and I'm using really a quarterly, monthly, weekly, and daily methodology or approach, meaning that I have my goals for the quarter. So for the first quarter of 2023, I would have set out the goals that I wanted to achieve. I actually have that here under North Star in goals. So these are the goals that I want to achieve for the first quarter of 2023. In the past, I would have set more yearly goals, but that proved a bit problematic if you're not doing sort of these milestone check-ins throughout the year. And that's what I'm trying to just get more granular in actually achieving these goals by breaking them down into quarterly goals and then into weekly milestones and weekly actions. So every month I have tagged as the year 2023. I just couldn't think of anything else to put it as. But this is very simple. It's actually just all of the goals or goal areas that I want to focus on for 2023. Now, it's not clear cut in that these aren't the goals. There are goal categories such as the health and fitness, finances, relationships, but there are actual goals such as learning philosophy and working on my online bookshop. So the fields just are here so that I can enter information in a table format. It's nothing fancy at all. I wish that it could look a bit simpler or at least a bit more visually minimal, but for the time being, I don't have an issue with it, especially as it doesn't look as jumbled on my monitor. But this provides me with an area for me to come back on a weekly basis and sort of know what I need to be focusing on for each area. And that is the breakdown that you essentially see here. My goal for the first quarter would have been to lose X amount of pounds. Therefore, I know that for January alone, this should be approximately how much I lose. And to achieve that, I need to be consistent with exercising. So I need to go to the trail at least 5 times for the week. This, I will be able to add a checkbox to and check off once I complete that. And I can, of course, look back at my habit tracker to ensure if I either did it or if I didn't do it for that week. And the same goes on for each of these other goals. I know that for week 1, I want to outline and clarify where I'm going with my bookshop. I want to get more books on, be more active on Instagram so that people know it exists. And therefore, I know where my focus is, and I can also plan my tasks and schedule my tasks in the weekly schedule, which is right above in alignment with my sort of weekly milestone down here. And that's essentially what I've done for each different category. That's all I'm really going to say about that right now. I do, again, wish that it looked a bit more minimal, but it's working for me. It's actually getting me able to I guess, more focus better on a day-to-day, and then on a week-to-week, and on a month-to-month, and a quarter-to-quarter basis, if that makes sense. That's the quarterly action plan, and I would have already gone through the daily habits. I can delete this. That was the task that I would have added in. Now I just want to go through the sidebar, just the different aspects, so that you kind of have and I kind of have a full overview of the workspace, so that when I make changes going down, I have something to reference as well, and so that you may also get some ideas for your workspace. That's the whole point of this in any case. So these pinned notes that I have here, these are just the parts of the workspace that I come back to on a regular basis. So my lists, all of my ideas, I have a moment. So there's nothing in the idea super tag, by the way. Status and day, I think that was from a task. Yeah, there's nothing actually in the idea super tag. Moment, you would have seen this in my annual Tana review, my annual review in Tana. When I have a memorable moment, I add the date and I add the photo and I tag it as moment, and it all comes up here. Media, anything that I want to remember to watch. Food, people, I may delete these two because I have not been using them regularly. I have all of my quotes, which has been growing. I added, so this super tag just has the author, a source, and a theme. I can also reference books. So, for example, I would have referenced this book here for this quote. And I just like going over it, seeing them, and then adding everything, any memorable quotes that I come across from a website, a book, etc. I have some questions. There's nothing in the super tag. Gift ideas and a remember super tag, just for anything that I want to go back, anything that I know that I need to remember but isn't urgent. It's not a task, it's just something that I don't want to get lost in the whole workspace. And that's essentially the list. I do have as well personal inventory. This is something that is kind of in progress working on. As I have more time in January on vacation, I will be able to actually catalog everything and have the location. But this is essentially still in the same state as it was from my last video. Moving along, so I would have shown you the goals already under North Star, but because I'm trying to be more intentional for 2023, I realized that I do need to clarify things such as values, as well as beliefs. I just have all of this is still a work in progress. These things may persist, and I may delete them if I don't see any value, but I do think that there is some value in at least articulating a personal philosophy, so that you're not being strayed by all of the various distractions that we have on a daily basis. So that's what this area is for. I have my planner, which consists of tasks. So this is all of my tasks by status. I have my someday tasks, all tasks, and this is the same search that you would have seen in the weekly review. I have all of my events here. This is where all of my reviews will go, weekly, monthly, and annual, and then the same list, which is what I would have showed you just now. The Learning Hub, this is very much still work in progress. I don't have much philosophy notes here yet, and I don't have much more added medical notes here, but this is all still pretty much work in progress as well. The fun area, I just have a playground. If I'm trying to work out a workflow, if I'm trying to work something out, this is where I would do that. For UFC, I have my the fight cards, from when I started watching the UFC events, and the two upcoming events the main events at least, not the individual fight cards or the Friday night or the Saturday night fight cards. The big ones that I do want to see, I have them here. Sometimes I make notes on them if there are any fighters that stood out for me or any fights that stood out for me. I make notes within the actual super tag. So this is kind of just I did not read this before, but I mean, this is just fun. This is not in any way, you can get all this information from the UFC website or just from various other websites, but this is, it's under fun. It's things that I like to do, or where I keep my notes as well for UFC events. And that is it. That's everything and how I have everything organized. My approach for planning my tasks and organizing the various aspects of my life in Tana. It has become my sort of home base, and I'm looking forward to the evolution of the evolution of Tana throughout the year. So please let me know if you have any comments, suggestions, and we will continue doing Workspace Wednesdays for the foreseeable future. And have a great 2023.